Hey everybody, it's Aaron. I want to talk a little bit about the Rush Limbaugh Sandra Fluke controversy. Uh, I don't know if it's fluke or fluck. I've heard it pronounced both ways, but for the purposes of this video, I'm going with fluke. If you're unfamiliar with Sandra Fluke, she is a law student at Georgetown who was invited by Democrats to speak at a congressional hearing about the importance of contraception being covered by insurance companies. The Republicans didn't let her speak, and so the Democrats organized a little press conference afterward so that she can get her statement out. And Rush Limbaugh had some choice words for her in response. Sandra Fluke wants you and me and everyone else to pay her to have sex. She's having so much sex that she can't afford the birth control. She wants you and me and all the taxpayers to foot the bill. Well, what does that make her? It makes her a slut, right? It makes her a prostitute. Now, a natural reaction to someone saying that would be, "Oh, shut up! Just shut your mouth!" But I'm not going to do that. Instead, I'm just going to explain to Rush why he was wrong to begin with and why his apology rang hollow. It wasn't just that you called her a slut and a prostitute, Rush. It was that the point you were so colorfully trying to make was flawed from the beginning. Your premise was that Sandra Fluke wanted taxpayers to pay for her birth control so that she could have more sex. Three things. The insurance she's talking about is privately funded. Okay, the school buys their insurance from a private company and then provides it to the students. Nowhere in there do tax dollars become involved, so it doesn't cost you a dime. Secondly, that's not how birth control works. You don't take a pill every time you want to have sex. You take one pill a day, and then you can have as much or as little sex as you want. It's not like you have to take more pills in order to have more sex. That's not how that works. Finally, her statement had nothing to do with sex, or even herself, really. She was relaying a story about a fellow student who needed contraception for medical reasons, specifically cysts that were growing on her ovary. Now, the condition was covered by her insurance, but because the prescribed medication was a contraceptive, it was denied. She ended up losing her ovary and now probably can't have kids. In this case, not having contraception may have prevented the birth of a child. You know, Rush, if you were really regretful, you would acknowledge one or all of these facts. Facts! But you didn't, and you won't, and that is why no one is buying your garbage of an apology. If you still disagree with Sandra Fluke's position, that's fine. I'm even willing to listen to the whole religious freedom argument, although I do have a few problems with that too. But to rig the game the way you did, to ignore facts or, and I suspect this is more likely, bury facts so that your listeners would agree with you, that's the problem. You know, I've listened to people on the left denigrate your listeners, Fox News viewers, and conservatives in general for a long time. And there was always something that made me feel uncomfortable about it. And after last week, I finally know what that is. I feel sorry for them. I don't want to say that I pity them, but I do. They're constantly being lied to. I have a lot of conservative friends, some of whom may be watching this right now. They're not stupid people. They're just trusting. They trust that you and their leaders are giving them true and accurate information, and oftentimes you're just not. Now, whether you do that by accident or by design, I can only speculate. But either way, you do them a disservice. To paraphrase Jack Waltz from The Godfather, nobody wants to be made to look ridiculous. But that's exactly what happens to them when they repeat your nonsense. Obama wants to kill your grandma! You remember that line? That was how the end-of-life care provision was framed during the debate over healthcare reform. Obama wants to kill your grandma. No, he doesn't. Let me be very clear. No, he doesn't! Even if you believe a policy he proposes will ultimately bring about that outcome, that doesn't mean he intends to murder your Nana. Why would you phrase it like that? If not because you're insecure about your own position. Why would you scare people into believing something that's false about the other guy, if not because you don't believe you'll win them over based on the merits of your own argument? Why is winning the argument more important than being right to you? These are the things that were exposed by your attacks on Sandra Fluke. Perhaps I've said too much. Let me wrap up. I am a fan of a radio show called Opie and Anthony. I follow Opie on Twitter, at Opie Radio. And while he says he doesn't agree with what you said, he's still defending you, Rush. He doesn't like how there's all kinds of pressure on your advertisers to abandon your show just because you are exercising your First Amendment rights. And I can see where he's coming from with that. He's had to deal with that kind of thing a lot in his career, and I understand that he has a unique perspective on the issue. But here's where we disagree. This whole thing started when Sandra Fluke wanted to exercise her First Amendment rights. And what did you do, Rush? You went after her for 3 days with the most vicious personal attacks you could think of. Now, do you have the right to say what you want to say? Absolutely. You did. And you're still walking around free. No one has taken your First Amendment rights away from you. But you know what? Advertisers also have the right to not have to associate themselves with you. Personally, I feel you gave up the luxury of any protection from consequences when you tried to humiliate Sandra Fluke into silence. So don't feel surprised that she hasn't accepted your apology. She's probably just waiting for a real one. Alright, enough of my self-righteous babble. For those of you who are familiar with my past videos, I feel I must apologize. The lava lamp could not be reached for comment. My name is Aaron, and I have an opinion. God, I hope this shit doesn't make me famous.